Maybe someday I will. For now, let's just enjoy. Right. Back to our adventures with Lady Arabelle. Lady Arabelle?
Just as the Colossus watches over Gonfalon Bay, I was supposed to keep the Alliance leaders safe. I failed in that, but at least they aren't in the Ascendant Order's hands. Not yet, anyway. What did Captain Colleen and the others have to say, dear?
Captains believe the Order leaders are Brett nobles, and the delegates didn't wash ashore.
Breton nobles? Yes. We heard that as well when the Ascendant Lord and the Magus were speaking in the crypts. That's something to go on. And if the Alliance leaders didn't end up in the shallows, we'll need to look elsewhere. What else, dear?
Captain Colleen saw the Dot Master accept gold from the Magus when they captured her.
Well, that's a lead we can investigate. I'd like to have a chat with Dock Master Arnauld about that and a great many other things. I detest being lied to, and he did it with such conviction. You're still on retainer, dear. Would you care to join me?
Yeah, I'll help you interrogate Dock Master Arnauld.
The Dock Master's home overlooks the harbor to the west. Jakan and I will meet you there. First Quentin, now this. I hardly know who to trust. Times like these, I take a moment to contemplate the Colossus in the harbor. It helps clear my thoughts.
Tell me about the Colossus, then.
That's one of the wonders of the archipelago, dear. The locals are very proud of their statue. Even a few of them know the real story behind who it represents. I like it as well. One of the reasons I bought the manor. Such a spectacular view.
And who does it represent?
The Colossus of Gonfalon Bay is Baron Admiral Bendu Olo, though most on the mainland would know him as the Colovian King of Anvil. He formed the All Flags Navy around 2260 in the First Era to gain vengeance against the Slode for the Thracian Plague.
The All Flags Navy?
The largest allied naval force in Tamrielic history. Ships from every nation and province participated, and many of the vessels were built right here on High Isle. The fleet launched from here and rained destruction upon Thras for their treachery.
And what does that have to do with finding the missing Alliance leaders?
Nothing, my dear, but you asked. Lord Bakara selected High Isle for the peace talks because of that history, though. The All Flags Navy recalls a time when disparate people united in common cause. He hopes to inspire the delegates to do the same.
I'm gonna call it right now. The Ascendant Lord is, I feel, is Lord Baccario. He's a new character. He's highly prominent. He has like a twisted logic to him that he probably thought, if I was gonna get into the head here, he's a philanthropist who's helping out but doesn't really have a reason to, from what we know. On top of which, he's trying to end the war. So he has direct dealings with all these people and seeing the pain and suffering going on with the Three Banners War. Eventually comes to the terms that, you know, the leaders must die to end the war. Decides to act like a noble, inviting them to their peace talks here, not expecting they're actually going to meet peace talks, and instead planning to kidnap and assassinate them all. That's my take at this point. Let's see if it plays out, shall we? Hey, Vesper. And hey, Mahil. Sometimes I like making the theory just to see how close I get. Wait, where is it? It says, compass says it's there, but... Oh no, that's another one. Helps if I don't drop myself in the drink. Oh, it's kind of cool. We return the statue. Now that's actually lit up.
Place is a mess.
I imagine the Ascendant Order ruffians loitering outside had something to do with that. Let's look around.
That belongings.
A few drops of dried blood. A scuffle, but not a murder.
Prepared meal.
Someone planning to depart doesn't set a meal on the table.
Letter. Dark Master Alanad. As per our arrangement, here is a payment for your continued assistance and discretion. It is imperative that you direct official attention away from the salvage operations of High Isle until we've finished our work in the shallows. You may find yourself tempted to look deeper into our business or see whether we are willing to pay you more for your silence. I must warn you that I strongly dislike negotiating settled terms agreements. There are settled agreements after the fact. Stay away from the lock, and content yourself with a handsome sum you already have been paid and shall profit. Descendant Magus.
Magus did bribe the Dockmaster just as Captain Khalid. I think I have a picture of what transpired here. Let's talk, my dear.
Threatened to talk a little bit more, and he got himself kidnapped, huh?
Nothing packed, food left on the table, and signs of a recent scuffle. I think it's safe to say Dockmaster Arnaud found that his Ascendant Order friends weren't entirely satisfied with their arrangement. They've obviously spirited him away.
Why would the Ascendant Order kidnap the Dockmaster when they already bribed him?
The Dockmaster ignored the wishes of the Ascendant Magus. Captain Colleen saw Arnaud collect another payment at the lock. I suspect he got greedy. And once he proved he wouldn't stay bribed, well, he became a liability.
Where do we go from here, then?
The Ascendant Order's throwing around a lot of coin on High Isle. If we follow the gold, we'll find someone with wealth and local influence behind this. Another clue that a High Isle noble is involved. Perhaps they want to keep the war going.
Why would anyone want to keep the war going?
Profit, of course. That's what it always comes down to. Lord Bacaro should be able to tell us which nobles stand to lose if the war ends. Go to Steadfast Manor, northwest of the city. I'll have Jakarn look for the Dockmaster and then meet you there.
Do you think anyone else is secretly working with the Ascendant Order?
Almost certainly. As I said, we must be careful about whom we trust. It is a concern, but it can also work to our advantage. Gold only buys loyalty for so long, and I suspect our adversaries are not as organized as they appear.
Why do you say that?
We know their opening move didn't go as planned. They were interrogating the captains to try to find the missing alliance leaders. Now they've taken the Dockmaster, who would have been more useful to them where he was. They don't trust each other.
Do you think the Dockmaster knows where the alliance leaders are?
I doubt it. If Dockmaster Arnaud knew where the alliance leaders were, he would have happily sold that information to the Ascendant Magus in exchange for his freedom. We know he didn't because the Order is still looking for them.
You think a group that claims they want to end the war would want peace talks to proceed, right?
I suspect the Order wants power, not peace. When the throne is vacant, your prospects of becoming Emperor suddenly seem a good deal more promising. That sort of prize might tempt a noble with just the right mix of ambition, gold, and imagination.
Do you think Lord Bacaro wants to point... You think Lord Bacaro can point us to the most likely suspects?
Lord Bacaro worked diligently to bring the peace talks to High Isle. Not everyone thought that was a good idea. I'm curious as to who opposed him and why. Better yet, he won't voice suspicions without good cause. We can rely on his discretion.
But at the same time, he fought to have it put to High Isle, where they have the Ascended Order now doing all this other crap. He put it in a High Isle, where the Ascended Order has been like building up a force to take over. Hmm. Ow.
I want to help, Lady Arabelle,
Progress is
but
slow.
I'm concerned for the
steady.
safety of my retainers.
My associate might be able to help in that regard, Lord Bacaro.
What's his deal?
Satisfying our curiosity will have to wait. 2 of Lord Bacaro's couriers have run into trouble. If the Ascendant Order is involved, we need to do what we can to help them. Speak to Lord Bacaro and offer your services. I'll add it to your pay.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Arabelle asks about the nobility, while 2 of my retainers are missing. The Society of the Steadfast will do whatever is necessary to keep its people safe. She mentioned the Ascendant Order might be involved. Do you think that's possible?
Well, we know the Ascended Order's been attacking people across High Isle, right?
Yes, I understand that you and Lady Arabelle have tangled with these brigands before. They claim to be knights, but they have no honor. Will you do as Lady Arabelle suggested and look for my retainers? I would consider it a personal favor.
Well, where were your retainers headed?
I sent Grenier and Denise to retrieve a shipment from the Navir docks, but I expected them back ages ago. They were traveling the road to the south. I just pray no evil befell them. The supplies we can lose, but good people are irreplaceable.
Well, I'll look for your missing retainers.
Thank you, my friend. I'll confer with Lady Arabelle while we await your return. I'll tell her everything I know about the nobility of High Isle, if she really thinks that will help. I knew peace would be hard to achieve, but I never expected a war.
Nope, we can't get through that while we're mounted. First missing retainer. Hi. Torn cloth. Scrap of frayed cloth torn from a garment. Tracks lead south, away from where it was found. Clear Gillenier's note. Whoever finds ambush. Knights wear unmarked livery. No house emblems. They're waiting for us. Tried to fight, but they're too many. Dance got away. She ran south, but 2 of those murderers chased after her. The rest looted our wagon. Don't understand. Lord Bacaro was sure the road to Castanera was safe. Can't hang around much longer. Tell my... They just start a little scrawl. tell my wife I'm indifferent.
You always take me to such nice places.
We go to the delve. Water cave. Been here once before.
I'm gonna show off a little.
You're dead, Ascendant Knights. And Return to Danes. What do you know about the Squirrel Crab? Knight Richel's orders. Knight Richel. Tomorrow morning, a wagon escorting the two Society of the Steadfast retainers will travel to Steadfast Manor from the docks of Castle Neverin. Take your knights and set up an ambush along the road. You are to kill the two retainers, a man named Grenier and a woman named Dance. They have seen things they should never have seen and must be eliminated. Confiscate the wagon load and to be used by the order. Any other spoilers are yours to keep. But remember, the retainers are your mission, not the supplies. There's several good spots to consider your knights between the Castle Neverin and Steadfast Manor. I'm sure you'll find a suitable site. Ascendant Mages. What could they have seen? Two retainers of Bacaro could have easily seen that he was doing something he shouldn't have. Or it could be something in the castle.
And we're off.
I can't help but suspect the person who's anyone who's philanthropic. I always want to be like, why are they giving so much money out, huh? What's the means to the end here? Hi.
You return alone. I take it the news is not good. Grenier and Denise were not just retainers. They were friends. The Steadfast shall miss them, and so shall I. Please, tell me what happened.
He knows a little bit. He already suspects it. I think he's a little bit too accepting. The retainers were killed. I found these orders from the Ascendant Mages.
Grenier and Denise were helping arrange a banquet at Castle Neverin. Then they were to collect the supplies and return here. What could they have seen that would cost them their lives? The banquet is just to welcome our royal guests to the island.
Grenier wrote this note before he died. He tried to fight back.
The Ascendant Order. Plundering Steadfast supplies and killing our retainers. Damn. It was brave of Grenier to try to fight back, but foolish. The supplies weren't worth their lives.
We suspect a wealthy noble might be funding the Ascendant Order.
So Lady Arabelle informed me. I'd hesitate to accuse anyone, but perhaps you should join me at Castle Navir. All the nobles of High Isle will be there, and if my retainers did see something at the castle, perhaps you can determine what that was.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to meet you at Castle Navir.
Duchess Elea of House Dufort is hosting the banquet. She's decided to go ahead and throw the party, even though our guests of honor are still missing. Go to Castle Navir's courtyard. Introduce yourself when you arrive. Be discreet, please.
So that's going to be suspect number 2, right? The Duchess is the one setting it up, and somebody saw something too much. Somebody saw something while that banquet was being set up, so. Why hold the banquet without the guest of honor?
Duchess Elea wants to project confidence, especially in light of the current situation. Rumors travel swiftly in the archipelago. The people need to believe we have things under control. I expected to pay a ransom and have the delegates back by now.
Lady Arabelle mentioned some nobles oppose the peace talks.
Ridiculous. No one opposes peace. It's just that some of the nobles questioned if this were the right time and place. Duchess Elea, for example, didn't want to bring the mainland's troubles to High Isle. Not without hope our efforts would bear fruit.
Did anyone else feel that way?
Count Leonard of House Mornard enjoys brisk profits by supplying all sides in the war. He doesn't want that to end too abruptly, especially not in a way that makes Elea and House Dufort look good. He detests that she decided to host the talks.
All right, it sounds like House Dufort and House Mornard are rivals, right?
Rivals and partners. House Mornard built its wealth on trade. They rely on House Dufort ships to carry their goods. But the two families have long vied with each other for primacy. The Mornards resent the fact that the Duforts rule High Isle.
Tell me more about the Society of the Steadfast, would you?
My family has always believed that wealth is meant to foster good works. When the three alliances went to war, I made the decision to do whatever I could to help common folk caught in their violent wake. So I started the Society of the Steadfast.
And what does the Society do exactly?
We're not a religious organization per se, but we do take inspiration from the teachings of Standar. We establish healing centers and other works to show compassion and mercy to those touched by this terrible war, soldiers and commoners both.
But not nobles and not royalty, right? And what do you do here in High Isle?
We're a small society that mostly works near the battlefields of Cyrodiil. I did turn a portion of my estate on High Isle into a healing center. We bring the badly wounded here to recuperate. The peace talks naturally grew out of our other efforts.
Lady Arabelle?
It's a shame the Ascendant Order got to Lord Baccaro's retainers before you could. What could they have seen that warranted their deaths? Perhaps we'll learn more at Castle Navir, although I'm certainly not in the mood for a party.
Lord Baccaro said several nobles will be in attendance.
And our missing guests of honor will no doubt be the main topic of discussion. This is a chance to listen, as well as ask questions. Make sure you speak to Elea Dufort, Demar Dufort, and John Menard. They'll be the most important nobles present.
So do you suspect them?
Until we know more, I suspect everybody. But if any of the nobles are funding the Ascendant Order, I think it likely that it's one of the grand families of High Isle. That means House Dufort or House Menard. Either way, we'll know more soon.
Well, who are Elea, Demar Dufort, and Joan Menard?
Elea is the Duchess of House Dufort and nominal ruler of High Isle. Demard is her brother and a count. John Menard is the highest-ranking noble of House Menard, currently on High Isle. He's Count Leonard's cousin, representing house interests here.
For those who haven't seen the chapter yet, anyone got guesses about who this is going to be? Make your guess now. Who's behind this dastardly plot? Is it Lord Bracaro? Or is it one of these others? Is it House Defont? House Menard? Or do you think we still haven't seen the actual player? That's Levere. Oh, that's a wonderful load screen for a grand castle.
Might as well enjoy ourselves while we're here. Do you still prefer a Russafeld red, my lady?
That would be delightful. Thank you, Bacaro. Introduce yourself to the nobility, my friend. And remember, even the smallest detail could be the clue we seek.
Hmm. Cara?
A pity. This would have been a truly grand occasion under better circumstances. I suppose we must make do. Conduct your investigation with discretion, please. You do not want any of these nobles to mark you as an enemy.
Here we are. Now go make your rounds, dear. Remember, I'm known in these circles, so chances are good they know you too. Definitely speak with Duchess Alea, Count Demard, and Viscount John, and anyone else who happens to catch your interest.
Okay. Layla Mirley.
It's an honor to be invited to one of Duchess Alea's parties. I've heard she only allows members of her own family into the castle. Most people never set foot inside the walls, let alone rub shoulders with the highest nobility of High Isle.
Hmm. They're in sync. Look at him go. Not a hair draw. Hi.
So many fine people, and such a lovely setting. Yet Nadaridra must ask the question, where are Queen Irene, High King Emmerich, and Prince Ernskar? Has some misfortune befallen them?
How did you know about it, though? Who is she to know?
I must say, I don't like what I've heard about this Ascendant Order. Bands of lawless knights roaming High Isle's countryside at will. How uncivilized. I suppose we are safe enough within the castle walls.
Word
Turmeric?
of advice. Leave an old lion to his drink. I've got no pleasant banter in me today.
Lady Mirette?
Hail. Hello.
Lord Osbert?
I was led to believe several royals might be here today. I suppose there's been some sort of delay.
Count Damod de Font?
Such a waste. I have little patience for the vanity of our noble houses on the best of days. Right now, I'm sure we all have better things we could be doing. I suspect you agree. You're the one assisting Lord Bacaro and Lady Arabelle, aren't you?
Oh, that's right. Helping Lady Arabelle. We're well informed.
I try to keep up on matters of state, but I confess, Alea told us all about you. I am Count Demard, the Duchess's brother and court mage of House Dufort. Tell me, has your investigation uncovered news regarding a sudden storm that appeared recently?
Yeah, actually. We think it might have been a cause of the delegate ships crash.
A hypothesis that matches my own. While my sister chases bandit knights across the countryside, I wonder about the druids who make the wild parts of High Isle their home. They have little love for civilized culture. They could be responsible.
What do the druids have to do with the storm, though?
I don't think that storm was natural. The druids wield old magics and consort with spirits. It is well within their abilities to summon such a tempest. They mostly keep to themselves, but I suspect a ruse. Those are your culprits, mark my words.
You said you're a court mage.
Magic is the legacy and heritage of the Breton people. Oh, I spent my time mastering the sword and knightly pursuits in my youth, but I believe that a true Breton must study both halves of our nature, and perhaps the ways of the druids, too.
What do you mean, both halves?
We Bretons trace our ancestry to Needs and Elves who intermingled during the early history of High Rock. Therefore, spellcraft is in our blood, and we all at least have some talent with magic. I find the subject fascinating and decided to embrace it.
Do all Breton nobles have a court mage?
No. Some have forgotten our traditions. Were it not for my talent, I doubt my sister would bother with a court mage. She sends me to look after Dufort interests in ports across Tamriel, rather than making full use of my arcane skills. A pity.
Seems shady. But would he, if he was part of the Ascendant Order, would he offer up the fact that druids are the ones who could cast that?
We should throw dice for gold. Interested?
Viscount John Menard, how you doing?
I don't believe we've met. John Monard, a pleasure. My family is in shipping. We import goods from the mainland and send wares from the archipelago to markets in Tamriel. You're the investigator working with Lady Arabelle, aren't you?
Yeah, that's actually right. I'm helping Lady Arabelle. How did you know?
The Duchess explained everything to the court just before you arrived. If Lady Arabelle had consulted us, things would be different. We know what hazards await careless captains making the approach to High Isle. Her ships were simply unprepared.
Hazard Seas didn't wreck the ships. The Ascendant Order did.
Don't tell me you buy into this Ascendant Order nonsense. A shadowy order of knights working to undermine the governments all across Tamriel? It's a ruse, my friend. A convenient fiction to protect the flawless name of House Dufort. Oh.
You don't seem to think very highly of House Stefan.
Alea gained her station by currying favor in High Rock. Then she made a show of backing Lord Baccaro's steadfast society. But ruining the peace talks and getting heads of state killed? Blame must be placed. And she'd never fall on that sword herself.
Why are House Menard and House Stefan at odds?
My family ruled the archipelago for generations, but the Duforts were never happy in our shadow. They spent years poisoning the court against us. And when my uncle Avreep quietly supported King Rancer a few years back, it paid off for them.
What do you mean?
The High King stripped my uncle of the ducal title and gave it to the Duforts. It was an outrage, really. We took no part in Rancer's war. At least the Duforts didn't get everything they wanted. We kept most of our holdings, and it eats at them.
If I recall, Rancer's war was basically a rebellion against High King Emmerich. So, are you in charge of House Menard then?
Goodness, no. That honor falls to my cousin Leonard, and he can have it. I wouldn't want the responsibility. No, I'm content managing our affairs here on High Isle. I leave the larger concerns of the business and house to my cousin, the Count.
Lord Baccaro has arrived, Duchess. He brought that Lady Arabelle with him.
Steward?
You're working with that would-be investigator. I can't imagine what you think you'll find here. You should be out beating the bushes for those bandit knights or scouring the back alleys of Gonfalon Bay. You'll find plenty of criminals there.
Would-be investigator? Lady Arabelle has a distinguished career, you know.
Had being the operative word. Clearly her best days are behind her. I cannot fathom her methods. The delegates are lost, so what's the point of distressing the Duchess's guests with incessant questions? Besides, we have the situation well in hand.
How do you have it well in hand?
I have instructed our house knights to question known malcontents all over the island and offer hefty sums of gold for information. Criminals are quick to turn on their own for a small handout. This so-called Ascendant Order can't hide forever.
Maybe. Duchess, how you doing?
Welcome to Castle Navir. You're Lady Arabelle's assistant, yes? Then you know these festivities are only for appearance's sake. Our guests of honor have yet to be found. Rest assured, I intend to bring the radicals behind this plot to justice.
So you're aware of the Ascended Order?
I'm aware of most things that happen on my isle. It's true we didn't connect reports of mysterious knights to the Ascendant Order until recently, but now that we know they are one and the same, we'll quickly bring them to heel.
Is there anything you can tell me about that might help us find the Alliance leaders?
I suggest that you and Lady Arabelle leave this matter in our hands. My knights have already pinpointed several sites where the Ascendant Order gathers. They are scouring High Isle for our missing guests even as we speak.
We have reason to believe High Isle nobles might be funding the Ascended Order.
Which is why I prefer to handle this discreetly. I suspect House Mornard is behind this. They profit greatly from the war, and they still hold a grudge against my house for overshadowing their own. Frankly, I put nothing past them.
Okay, tell me more about House Menard.
One should be careful when talking about one's neighbors. Still, Count Mornard's dislike of my family is well known. Years ago, his father backed King Ronser of Shornhelm in his dispute with High King Emmerich. Emmerich did not forget it.
And what did High King Emmerich do?
He punished Avric Mornard by stripping him of his ducal title and granting it to my father instead. The Mornards remain counts, with holdings and estates throughout the Isles. But the Duforts are now the Dukes of the Sisters.
Then tell me more about House Defont, then.
My family builds ships. Our shipyards construct the finest vessels to ply the western seas. In reward for our service, High King Emmerich granted us the Duchy of Sisters. We rule with care and compassion for all, even the Mornards.
Menards.
Might I offer you a refreshment, friend?
Oh no, Jakarn. How do you think they got that noble name? You think they like got into a fight one time and they like somebody just like kicked them like right in the junk and they're like, Menards? No? Jakarn?
Didn't think I'd miss this little soiree, did you? Listen, I have it on good authority from a very accommodating chambermaid, in fact, that the Duchess has been looking into the Ascendant Order on her own. Well, I've got a plan.
Okay, what's the plan, Jakarn?
Not Jakarn, waiter Fred.
Fred.
I'm in disguise. I told you about the chambermaid, right?
Yeah.
She's one of the Duchess's personal assistants. Well, she told me where the Duchess keeps her sensitive documents, among other unmentionable items.
Duchess told me about her investigation. What's your plan?
Nobles and the upper staff never pay attention to the common help. I easily filched a key from that stuck-up steward Hercian. While I cause a distraction, you go take a look. Duchess Alea has a private study somewhere beyond the northeast door.
Okay, what sort of distraction then?
I'll lure the guards away from the doors, but I'll need your help. Talk to one of the musicians and ask them to play the tune Stagger and Sway. It's an old favorite of mine. I'll take care of the rest.
Why do I feel like this is going to result in some drunken brawl? That us, dear?
Something you need, friend?
Yeah, I want to request a song of the Stagger and Sway.
I don't really take requests. Duchess Alea provided a list of approved songs she wanted performed. That one definitely isn't one of them. Not that she would notice. I don't think anyone is really listening to the music.
You know, I could do something to make him convince him otherwise, but you know, with a gold amount like that, Yeah, let's give you 69 coins. Can we buy the song?
It's good to see that someone appreciates the arts. All right then, you'll have your song.
Thank you.
Lords and ladies of the court, I dedicate this song and dance to the most buxom, curvaceous, voluptuous of all royals, Duchess Alea.
You get down from there at once. Stop this nonsense.
Hey. What do you think about that little dance there?
Well, I suppose this is meant to be flattering, but it's all rather awkward. I have no idea who that scoundrel is or what he thinks he's doing. How much longer do my guards intend to let this spectacle go on?
Steward.
Who is that fellow? I'm certain I hired no such scoundrel to serve our guests. I must make sure the guards teach him a lesson, one that he will never forget.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, we have a long way to go. Stuart Hersine's map. Okay. This is Alea's investigation notes. Last month. Curious, Sisters Guard reports a routine banditry across the High Isle seems to be declining. They believe some new bandit chieftain is recruiting followers from the island outlaws. I'll direct Stuart Hersine or Hesserin to take a look. 2 weeks ago. Banditry across High Isle is resumed at a completely intolerable level. The outlaws are now better organized and makes more well armed than ever. Hesserin reports that the peasants are all telling tales about the Knight of the People, who call themselves the Ascended Order. Rebels and scofflaw, as I say. The Ascended Order brigands threatened the Dufron prophets. Will have to take action. Stuart Harrison has compiled informants reports into a map of the Ascended Order activity. Plans to personally investigate each one. 2 days ago. The Ascended Order Knights are more ambitious than I thought. Someone conjured a great storm off the northeast coast of the High Isle. They wrecked the ships carrying the High King Emmerich, Queen Eren, and Jordan the Skull King's son to Lord Barcaro's peace conference. The most powerful monarchs in Tamriel may have drowned off our coast. This is why I want Hessian spies to keep an eye on this group. The surprise of this magnitude is completely unacceptable. If we had known about this threat, we could have done something, or at the very least, position ourselves to take advantage of the developments. Well, that doesn't sound good.
Tamriel's salvation begins today. Join us or be swept aside. Storm and fire will bring down the old regime. Lightning and lava will herald in a new age.
find a place in the new regime. Stand against us, and you will be brought to your knees.
Okay, let's take a look at the death count here. I don't see any of the nobles dead. Kara?
I am all right. Fortunately, Lady Arabelle was close at hand to protect me from those terrorists, and the rest of the guests managed to retreat into the castle safely. I suggest you consult with Lady Arabelle as to how we respond to this outrage.
Karn?
Guess I wasn't the only one who decided to crash this party. That was the Ascendant Magus himself. He told the high and mighty of the archipelago to stay out of his way, and I think they just might. But we won't, will we?
Nope.
Oh good, you're all right. It seems our adversaries decided to send a message to all those in attendance. Submit or die. A classic. Did you uncover anything useful before the Ascendant Magus made his entrance?
Duchess Alea was investigating the Ascendant Order. I have her notes.
I see. Clearly Duchess Alea's investigation hasn't gotten very far. Perhaps we can make better use of the leads she's been developing. But we have little time to waste. The Ascendant Magus demonstrated real power.
What do you mean?
Did you notice how the ground shook when he unleashed his storm? That's not a magic I've seen before. Somehow his storm magic is causing earthquakes. At least he hasn't recovered the Alliance leaders yet. We still have time.
How do you know they don't have the Alliance leaders?
Because the Ascendant Magus has made a show of wanting us to fear him. Why would he care if he had what he wanted and couldn't be stopped? No, the royals elude him, somehow. But his magic, I wonder...
Wonder what? Good?
Among the other problems plaguing High Isle, lava vents have begun to open in random locations. Between the ground shaking and the storms, could the Magus have stirred the volcano? Let's return to my manor so we can study these items more closely. Lord Bacaro, it may not be safe to return to Steadfast Manor.
Nonsense. I refuse to hide from these cretins. I'll double my guard, but they won't drive me from my home.
Very well. I'll check in with you later. Jakan, let's go. And put on a shirt, my dear.
Now keep in mind, that's the Ascendant Magus, right? That's not the Ascendant Lord. Still have my suspicions about Lord Bacaro here. Okay. Back to Mandrake Manor.
Look! The Colossus!
Ooh.
These tremors grow more powerful. I heard that volcanic fissures are bursting open across the Isles.
First the storm, now this? It must be the work of the Ascendant Order.
You give them too much credit. An earthquake destroyed the Gonfalon Colossus.
Yes, an Ascendant earthquake. Trust Zaji, he knows.
Zaji has a good nose for this.
I have visited High Isle several times over the years. Never have I seen the ground so restless. It is alarming. Could Zaji be right? Could the Ascendant Order be causing these tremors and eruptions?
Well, the Ascendant Magus said the old regimes would be swept away in a storm and fire.
Storm and fire. I am troubled. If the Ascendant Magus can use powerful storm magic against his enemies, does he also command the tremors and volcanic fissures? It is maddening to even contemplate.
Lady Arabelle suspects the links between the storms and the volcanic activity, at least.
Oh, Zaji is right to worry then. The loss of a monument might be the least of our concerns if the Ascendant Order can rouse the volcano. Lady Arabelle is inside, friend. Perhaps she'll know what to do.
I know what she's going to do first. Sell her retirement home. She lost the view. Like buying a house for the for a view of the Statue of Liberty or the Eiffel Tower, and then it gets destroyed the next day. ESO?
I plan to set out soon to scour the coast for signs of wreckage. If the Dockmaster is not to be trusted, we cannot assume he carried out his search. If there is any sign of the missing ships, I will find it.
Zaji?
Yes, Zaji promised not to drink until Queen Irene was safe, but that was before Zaji saw the Colossus of Gonfalon Bay break apart. No one can expect Zaji to stay sober after that.
I guess, yeah, go ahead, have it, Zaji. Where's our other captain? Lady Arabelle?
Was it too much to hope that one of High Isle's nobles would openly admit their guilt?
Yep.
At least we can rule out Duchess Alea. Her notes make it clear she was caught off guard by the attack on the delegates' ships. And this map. Interesting.
What about this map?
If this map really points to sites important to the Ascendant Order, then it's our best lead so far. Here, my dear, take this with my thanks. With your continued help, we'll find the royals and discover who's behind the Order before long. We must.
Must.
We have a mystery to solve, my dear.
Yes, we do. We'll have to hold till next time.